Monogam-ish contains content intended for mature audiences. The views expressed here are for entertainment purposes only. Please enjoy the show.
Hi, I'm Justina.
And I'm Kenji.
And we're Monogam-ish. Oh my gosh, this is our first update show. You guys are here for our first update show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And technically, Amber, this isn't an update show.
Right.
But Brianna, you were on our show for our first season.
Mm-hmm. Number 16, sweet 16.
Yes.
Oh, I know.
And so we've already heard a huge chunk of your backstory, and you're here not only for an update, but also to introduce us to
my lovely fiancée. As of a couple months ago, she proposed to me, and I did say yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay. So, yeah, we've officially been together 9 months now. Yes. So, no baby, spit baby maybe.
Oh.
But, you know.
And have you guys knew each other before this, correct?
We've known each other for...
Whoa, hold on. First, introduce.
Oh, on my right is my right-hand woman, Amber.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome, Amber.
Thank you.
So we have had the pleasure of seeing a big chunk of this relationship evolve.
You guys have been there from the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing because we knew Brianna's story, and we knew, from the last time that we had her on the show, what she wanted, what she was looking for, and sometimes even more than what she expected.
You never know when it's going to walk in the door.
Yep.
And how it's going to walk in the door for you. And it just so happens that we had a lot of things that were, in common outside of the obvious that, we felt, we were strong enough with those things that, our relationship would not only survive but benefit for being a lifestyle couple as well, as in a lesbian lifestyle couple. So it's been amazing. Not a day goes by that I don't appreciate what she does and who she is. So
that's awesome.
I love it. You guys are like one of my favorite couples.
Yes.
You know that.
So Amber,
well, we all sit here and strive to be you guys.
Oh, get out of here.
You know what?
It is.
The love.
But it is.
I love it.
It's
I love
love
it.
too, but it's a lot of work to have a relationship like this, and it takes, it takes a lot of effort and respect and
honesty.
Communication, honesty. And we really, that's why we're doing the show, is to show that there are so many relationships that you can have, so many different type of relationships, but they all have to be built on that same foundation to be able to be successful. So
it's trust. As long as you have the trust.
Right.
You have the trust and you're able to talk to your partner.
Right.
That's the two main things.
So we always ask Amber, how do you identify?
As far as?
Not only, your sexuality, but we know your relationship in terms of you guys are engaged.
Yes. I am pansexual.
Pansexual.
Yes.
Okay. So at what age did you determine that you're pansexual?
About 3 years ago.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. So this is a new thing for you.
Everything about this is new for me.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Be more specific.
Okay. So in relation to the lifestyle, so tell us how it all evolved for you, how you figured out your sexuality.
Was out in Michigan.
Okay.
I was early mid-20s.
Okay.
I wanted to say. I was engaged at the time, and it started coming out, so we were like, okay, we'll try it. We tried it for a little bit, and then unfortunately we wound up splitting up, and then life happened. We kind of got out of it. I was out of it until about 6 years ago.
Okay.
Started coming around again. I went once, and then had a 2 or 3 year hiatus. And actually one of my first times back when I walked in is when she was there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So during that time, were you dating anybody monogamously?
Yes.
Okay.
All the relationships were monogamous.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So now you're delving back into the lifestyle. Yes. You walk in and you meet Brianna.
Yes. Well, no, me and Brianna and I have known each other since 2015
ish. Yeah.
Ish, maybe 2014.
Yeah. We've known each other's circles. It's just that we never really had that time where both of our circles were kind of revolving together. I would see her. I knew about her, and at one point in time, my eye was, definitely catching her. I was definitely, it's like, maybe she'd be somebody I'd want to date, someday.
Oh.
But, at that point, 5-6 years ago, I still wasn't in a place to, have a relationship with somebody. I knew what I kind of wanted, but, like all things, my last relationship, taught me a lot because it basically burned me down to the ground with, my, what I wanted, who I was, and you have to analyze yourself because, getting to a point where was I selfish, and was I selfish because of the relationship wasn't the right one? Was I, there's a lot of things that you go through, but
Was it toxic?
it was toxic.
Oh.
Yes.
And how long were you in that
Just a
relationship
year.
for? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it got to the point at the end of the, where, she wasn't 420 friendly. She was okay with the kink part of the lifestyle, possibly the sharing portion of it. But, there was a lot of other things. Her socio-political background didn't allow her. She was a staunch Republican.
Really?
Yeah.
But there's
So-
quite a few of those
Sure,
in the
but
lifestyle.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And but her views and my views clashed.
Okay.
Things that she would say are, were triggering for me, and it, because it compromised my values, and as, somebody who's an LGBT person, and also I love my fellow man, everyone.
So
Right?
do you think
Thank you.
she
Yeah.
was the type of person that just had a lot of self-hate?
I think, yeah, I think so as well.
Because, she's bisexual, or she's at least a lesbian.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
lesbian,
And so, that's
It's so weird.
kind of
right?
everything that party goes against.
I don't get it because I'm like, dude, are you not like on the same team here?
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
I don't get it, period, because I love love.
yeah, love
That's-
is
I say it all the time. I love love. Like, why would I hate anybody for hating anybody
Right.
or loving anybody?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially when it has nothing to do with me.
right.
right.
Like, love each other and love them too and love them too. Like, just love.
And I think that's part
Exactly.
of the, one of our social, I guess you can put an asterisk by it because we can fit into anybody's social circle, that comes up. If you guys invite us out for dinner, friends downtown invite us out for dinner, because we don't bring drama to our table
Right.
of anything,
Yes.
of
Right.
anybody's drama that we know about.
Right.
We know a lot of drama about a lot of people, but we don't talk about it.
That's not what this is about.
Right.
I mean, we've discussed it so many times on the
Right.
show. Not that it doesn't happen.
Sure.
There's there could definitely be, a Real Housewives of Scarlet Ranch.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Oh,
Like-
my
Oh,
God.
definitely.
Right?
There probably
Oh,
could be.
Think
my
about
God.
that. Like,
Yeah, I think there could be.
every,
That would be
any day.
funny.
But
I'd watch it.
For the most part, we're community.
Right. We
Exactly.
love
You don't see,
Yeah.
we talked about on one of our episodes recently that we've just recorded, we've talked about how there's not been security at the ranch forever, ever. And
Not that
that's
I remember.
because
Yeah.
things like that, you don't really have, issues like that. We're all
No.
watching out for each
Yeah,
other.
Everybody
everybody
is.
has
We
each
take
other's
care of our-
back.
Everybody
We take
does.
care of our
But
own.
that
That's right.
doesn't mean that
Yeah.
there's not lying and cheating
Oh, yes.
and jealousy and
Oh, yeah.
infidelity.
It's all
And-
about
There's
ego.
still some scandal.
Right.
Ego
Oh,
is
yes.
the one killer about that in lifestyle,
Right.
because ego will kill that fast.
Right. And mushrooms kill ego. So
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
I don't know anything about that.
No, I don't either. I have no idea. No.
But realistically speaking, we're not immune to those issues that
No.
exist in vanilla clubs or in your local,
Yeah.
bar down the street, your local dive bar that the whole neighborhood's going and hanging out at.
Regular relationship issues.
Right.
Still
Yeah.
come
It's
up
still the
in
same
this.
drama.
Yeah. Same drama.
It's the same thing.
But-
We're just more open to where we love everybody.
Exactly. But in the same hand, I don't necessarily know on the monogamous lifestyle if I've seen relationships nearly as strong as I've seen on level of communication, trust in the lifestyle. Like, it really takes your relationship to a whole nother level.
It does.
Right. And that's what we find in the lesbian community is not as secure with their relationships, because it's, you know, when you get a relationship, they hold on to it no matter what it is. You know, it can be toxic, you know, for the sake of being in relationships, and also ego, you know, trust and mistrust. You know, a lot of lesbians are just like guys, you know, they're cheaters too. It happens less frequently, but still, you know, there's the trust issue. We're human, and that's what we found about being in lifestyles, that, you know, we're not out to, you know, pick up every single night that we go out.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, if something happens,
No expectations.
no expectations.
Yep.
Ever.
We go out
Every
to have fun.
episode.
We go out to have fun.
Yeah, that's it. We go out to have
Exactly.
fun,
Right.
enjoy time with you guys and
Like-minded
everybody else.
people.
Right.
Right.
This is what I tell her. You know, like, if we find somebody else or, you know, another couple, great.
Great.
But I know I'm hooking up with you at the end of the night. So
Exactly.
If
Right.
I'm
I
okay
let
with
him.
that.
Yeah.
you
If
know?
I let
Right.
him.
Right. So you know, it's one of those things where, you know,
Like you're really going
the
to say
stronger
no.
right.
relationships that are built inside of lifestyle that blossomed, and, you know, they've got a foundation in trust, you know, they work out, you know, more than a lot of
Monogamous.
monogamous couples.
Right.
Whether it's lesbian, gay, straight, doesn't matter.
So delve us into the world of the straight lesbian world. Okay, let me tell you where I've dabbled a little bit. So this is what I kind of know. I'm bi, and it seems that I always end up with a lesbian on those nights that I do decide to drink alcohol. And this is the thing. You guys know Kenji.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like one of the most likable guys. But every lesbian seems to hate the presence of any guy, but
Think
let
that's-
alone, and see, that's not lifestyle mentality.
Sure.
Lifestyle mentality, even if I'm not into you
Sure.
because of my sexuality, doesn't mean that I'm not going to talk to you and we can't be friends and we
Right.
can't still hang
your
out in the same
DNA.
circle.
So don't be, you know,
Yeah.
because it, you know, we were having this conversation this afternoon. We have a friend who's identifies as them, they date girls. They are very, you know, butch looking, very androgynous, but still at their heart, you know, DNA of a female.
Okay.
So most lesbian females will date you know, someone who's androgynous like that, or butch lesbian, versus a trans woman.
Really? Why?
DNA.
That DNA. That's the only thing we can think of.
It's the only thing we can break it down to. And a lot of that is hardwiring. And even when I was talking to them the last time, you know, they're hardwired. I don't know what it is.
Wow.
You know, you could be the butchest female in the world. They're still going to like you because you still have a vajayjay.
Wow.
That's correct. That you have a biological
Cool.
vagina.
Vagina.
You may,
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Biological.
right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And those butch women may not be, because they're usually tops, all of them.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
They're
yes.
all tops.
But it's a pretty common thread
Yes.
throughout that community that they only want to associate, which it sounds weird to say it this way, but with their kind.
Mostly, yes.
And I've never understood that
We don't either.
because the lifestyle is such an inclusive community.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
you know, we have trans males, trans females. We have straight, bi, pan,
Exactly.
poly. Like, you know, there's so many facets. Some of them are just
Right.
kink. You
Yeah.
know, just straight into kink and different fetishes and all of that. But it's such an inclusive community as a whole. So when you have that one little facet of the
Right.
community that's the exact opposite
Mm-hmm.
of that,
To be one community that, you know, prides itself on, you know, pride and openness and togetherness and love, and, you know, it's almost hypocrisy at the end of the day, because, you know, they don't practice what they preach.
right?
You
It's
know.
almost like the religious community.
To a certain extent. This is like,
Right.
Yeah.
we don't want you to, you know, harass us. We don't want you to discriminate against us. You know what? But the discrimination within inside of the community is such that, and a lot of that, you know, and I find it, you know, it's at a genetic level. It really is boils down to, you know, chromosomal. You know, girls will not, you know, venture on the other side of the chromosome street. You know, even though you're a trans woman, you could be the most beautiful trans woman ever, and they may just keep on walking.
I
I
don't know
couldn't
that that's necessarily just a girl issue.
No, it's not just a girl
Yeah,
issue.
I think that societally,
It's societal at the end of the day, but, you know, as a lesbian, you know, not wanting to be judged,
right?
you know, I'm already being judged as a lesbian, but now I'm a lesbian who's dating a trans person, and that stigma comes,
It's another
Yeah.
level.
it's a whole nother level. that
I've
they-
been, you know, we've gone out to the clubs before, before her and I got together. But I'd be out dancing, and I'd have, you know, a female come up and dance. We'd get dancing halfway through the song. You know, it obviously comes up.
Right.
You know, I confirm that yes, I am indeed trans, and they will stop in the middle of the song and walk off the dance floor.
See, and that's just
Wow.
outright disrespect.
Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's one thing. There's one thing to have you can't necessarily control who you're attracted to.
No.
No.
Like, you know, if that is an issue for them, that's one thing to say, and for them to then just go, you know, you're beautiful. It's nothing personal, but
Just
this is not.
not
I'm not
into you.
into this. But I appreciate your time in the last few minutes of talking with you and
Yeah.
doing about it. You know, going about it in a more graceful way.
Well, but instead of making it, you know, this is not what interests me,
Right.
don't do that. Do it, you know, I'm sorry, I'm just not that into you.
Right.
Not, you know, in a broader aspect,
I know they
make
some,
it about that person because that's who you're communicating with.
They make it some really big scene or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and
Right.
oh my gosh. And has that happened to you as well?
I mean, it's the dating scene. I mean, you have to want to be, you know, it's being chosen at basketball.
Right.
It's like, you know, they have to want you,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, because, you know, that whole dating scene of wanting to date and wanting to go out with somebody. It's like, I really want to ask this person out, but
That fear of rejection.
it's that fear of rejection because it's like, now, from my perspective, if it were me seeking out to date, you know, I've got to go through all of these girls to find the right one that's going to say, okay, I don't mind dating a trans woman.
Right.
You know, on the other hand, it's like, okay, well, here I am. I'm going to put myself out there. You know, here it is. If you want to date me, if you want to see my soul, I would love to go out
Come
with
to
dinner
me.
with you and come to me. You
And
know,
and it also takes the part on the you know, on behalf of that trans
Right.
woman or man to be able to accept that rejection.
oh yeah,
Because no matter if you're straight, if you're gay, if you're bi,
Right.
no, there's always going to be some times where you have attraction to a person that doesn't
Right.
doesn't share it. It's
No.
not mutual.
no, it's not mutual.
And that happens probably more times than
you have
not.
to be real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
You have so much
we,
courage.
We don't make any bones about, you know, and it's like, you know, I'm not a spring chicken. I'm 51 years old. I have curves.
Right.
So, and I have curves on all the places I got my cottage cheese too, you know, so it's okay. I don't mind squeezing my ass into a dress if I don't look like Bo Derek, okay? You know, for those of you youngsters out there.
But we talk about in the lifestyle what amazing work it does to build your confidence.
Sure.
It does.
It does.
It
Because
really does.
Especially as a woman, the first time, and there's people that we've talked to that have been going to the club for years and years and years. And they're like, this is the first time I've taken my shirt off and just walked around with my boobs out. Or, you know, finally built up that confidence. But sometimes it happens for me, it was the first time. Like the first time I went to the Mon Chalet and I had that freedom of just getting into the pool
Yeah,
naked and
That's what
not
it is.
not having to worry that my body type wasn't everybody's body type because it was such a mix of all different shapes and sizes
Well,
and
it-
ethnicities and
You know,
everything.
You go into some place like the Mon Chalet or you go into the ranch, you're walking into a place that there's, you know, 75, 100 people or so. Obviously, almost everybody's there for the one reason. You know,
There.
that's the main reason that we go there. So when we, you know, like Justina, myself, you know, we get dressed up and we go in there, not only are you feeling good because of the way you're dressed up, but then you have everybody's eyes on you.
right.
And you can
mean, it's a
see in
confidence
their
booster.
eyes that, you know, yes, I want you. And they come up, you look gorgeous, you know, just out of the blue. So, yeah, that does.
And that's the thing there is,
Yeah.
especially on the women's side, I'm not saying the men don't shower us with compliments. We love it.
Yes.
But
Oh, I know,
especially on the
right.
women's side, the women are always the first one to go, oh my God, I love your necklace, or I love your
Yeah.
shoes, or I love that dress, or what did you do with your hair? It's great.
Throw-
We're the first ones to
throw a good compliment.
Right,
Mhm.
and
You
boost
know,
each other
yeah.
up.
Just boost, and it's so awesome in the, in the lifestyle as opposed to like, vanilla life where it's almost like a tear down thing.
Yeah.
It is a tear down thing because it's competition.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it boils down to competition at that point.
And here
know,
there really isn't. I'm not saying
there-
it doesn't happen, but for the most part, you're coming to the ranch or, to any of those
Sure.
places, and everybody knows your intent.
Exactly.
Right. It's your openness, and if you're there,
Yeah.
What
And
you're looking
you're
for.
there.
For,
What
yeah.
you're- But same thing in the vanilla clubs. Everybody's there for the same thing.
But they
except,
won't admit it.
But they won't admit it. But it's their mind frame. It's still competition
Yes.
at the ranch. It is still competition.
it's still competition.
Not the
and no
same
matter
way.
what. But see, at the ranch, everybody's doing it in such a positive manner. They know it's competition, and it's fair game. And so you're like, cool. Like if I went tonight, I went tonight. But if you went tonight, I'm still cool with it because we're like on the same team.
Right.
Whereas like out here in this, they're like, oh no, I play for my team, you play for your team. Fuck that, I'm winning tonight. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
And so yeah. Oh man, I just love it.
Yeah, interesting dynamics in the different settings. I
It-
mean, it's
So, do you guys go to, besides like the ranch and the Mon, do you guys go to strictly like lesbian bars?
yeah. I mean, for the most part, we go to Blush and Blue downtown.
Okay.
That's our kind of
Our
our
main.
home bar because we know the owner, we know her wife. We've got most of our friends who've been going there for years. So our social circles don't always involve the bar because we do stuff outside of the bar with friends that we know there as well.
Oh, awesome.
So, but for the most part, yeah, because, straight bars, it depends. We can, girls' nights and shit like that, we don't mind. We love going, because we're all there together having a great time. But
Right.
for the most part, we don't go to, I mean, if it's dinner or something like that. But for a bar, yeah, it's pretty much, we stay in the community and,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I won't go to a straight bar by myself.
it's hard because the
I believe it.
judgment is
Yeah.
hard.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, we understand and we're very honest about where we are in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
and what we've gone through to get to where we've had to get to.
Mm-hmm.
So, not trying to pull the wool over on anybody's eyes where it comes to, most of the time people don't give us a second look, because in normal settings, it just doesn't, it goes by nonchalantly.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a grocery store or whatever, what have you. Most people don't even notice. It only notices until you're starting to look and like, oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
She's really gorgeous, but
Right.
Ah.
The butt always comes in.
but the butt.
But and that's okay because you guys
And it's
have been
okay.
always very proud of who you are. You've
Yeah.
never tried to hide it.
No.
You
No, I
came
love
out on our show,
Hell
Right,
yeah.
like
absolutely.
the
We
first
don't-
time.
Exactly.
I love you. That's why. Hell
and
yeah.
We
We
love
just,
you too.
because we don't get caught up in all of the drama that can come along with it because it just takes energy to combat that mentally.
And let me tell you, the first time that I was exposed to anybody that lives that lifestyle or that was, that chose that, you also on the other side, I don't think that people realize that we're also nervous to hurt your feelings. So sometimes we don't want to say something or we don't want to act like we
Sure.
know because we, by even addressing it, we feel like, are we doing the right thing?
Sure. Some of and it's not the same for everyone.
Right.
For us in our position, we're very honest about where we are in our lives and know that, people probably do know, they probably have read us and that's okay. We're still in our, we're still strong who we are. We take pride in who we are and we'll take the next step and walk on by and, it doesn't get in my head like it used to years and years and years ago because it used to
Did it?
worry me what so many other people around me thought because I tried so hard to be perfect.
Really?
As a female, you know how that is, and it's just you strive for your perfection, and because you don't want to be judged by your peers or
We're
anybody
the
else.
hardest on ourselves.
We're
as
the
females.
hardest
Yeah.
on ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Always.
same way.
But that makes, because we know we're so hard on ourselves, that's
Right.
also why we're the nicest to each other most of
Yes.
the time. Like, 90%
Right.
of the time. You have the exceptions to the rules.
'Cause you,
But
you understand the journey.
yeah,
You understand the journey.
and the judgment that it took to
Exactly.
get there.
I always tell people with what you were saying about your average person coming up to us and being afraid, scared to hurt our feelings. We're very good at reading body language.
Oh, yeah.
There's not
Oh, yeah.
a single person, in our situation that is not good at reading body language. If your intent is hurtful and hateful, it's going to come out in your
Right.
voice.
You can
And
tell
it's going to
people are
come out in your
uncomfortable.
body.
Oh,
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're coming to us in a state of, hey, I'm curious, I want to learn, it's going to show in your body posture in the way that you are.
And honestly, with Brianna, that's when we had probably the realest conversations and began to understand the emotions evolved, in the whole
Right.
process. And really, it's the first time that we had heard a firsthand story like that in
Yes.
detail of a journey of having to go through that, because, you see it on TV,
right,
or
but it's never fully explored, and the journey, or the what is it like
in the raw
No.
emotion.
in the raw
No.
emotion.
It's like this, then this,
Right.
and there's never any
Yeah.
in between, and like what's like the real story.
I've seen
Yeah.
a lot of
You know.
documentaries that don't always capture, what, the day to day or the behind the scenes of what it's like. I've seen some that are close, but for the most part, it doesn't capture it.
There's that problem we've discovered with pretty much all levels of the lifestyle. They're
Right.
not portrayed, really
Right.
great in
Sure.
media. We talk about it a lot, whether it be polyamory,
Or
whether it be
BDSM or
Anything. Yeah.
swinging
yeah,
lifestyle,
right.
like all of it. It's not portrayed or really understood by a lot of people.
And it's
And every situation is unique. I mean, even though we cover the lifestyle, anybody that's listened to our show knows that every single episode
Sure.
is completely different than
Yeah.
the last.
Yeah.
And every situation and how they came about and what their backstory is and how they found each other or how they stayed single or whatever is so different in the lifestyle.
it is.
But the mentality all behind it is pretty much the same, that we don't judge for
we
love.
We don't
No.
judge. We
Yeah.
don't judge for shit,
We,
really.
No.
Yeah, we just want to be open and be
And-
ourselves,
Yeah.
and be, have somebody accept us for just being
Exactly.
ourselves.
Right. And
You
we
know?
want the people around us to do
Right.
that. I mean, it's been, we couldn't say how happy we were over and over when we found out that you guys were engaged.
Oh,
Like,
my
we
God.
smiled that whole night. I know, because we saw it from
Sure.
the beginning. And we
Yes.
saw you guys grow together. And, COVID was the biggest casual sex killer, but also the biggest relationship
Killer.
booster.
In most
No,
cases.
there's so
Both.
many
Both.
weddings.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
both.
There's so many weddings. There's so many, engagements. There's so many, all of a sudden we went from just dating to now COVID hit and he needed a safe place to live and we're living together to now, we were
Oh my-
just, friends with benefits for a little while, but we really don't want to have, sex with random people. So now we're exclusively
Yeah.
together. And it exploded that part
Right.
of it because people were lonely.
It also was a relationship killer in some cases, because some people's relationships were so based in the lifestyle that without it,
Oh,
Right.
They
my
couldn't
gosh.
survive.
Yes.
They-
But you know what? That's like nature kind of
Yeah.
taking care of itself.
it is.
Because we say this all the time. If
Right.
you have problems in your relationship, the lifestyle isn't going to fix them.
Right.
It's a temporary
The lifestyle's
Band-Aid.
not for you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a killer.
It's a temp-
it will kill
Yeah,
you.
Right.
regardless of whether COVID happened or not, that relationship would have been ended by cheating or infidelity or, finally somebody just,
Right.
Yeah.
getting the right hair up their ass to say I'm filing for divorce.
Right. And it's funny, we wouldn't say our lesbian community is all bad, because we've had a couple visits from some of our friends who've come to the ranch outside of the lifestyle
Oh,
community.
nice.
Yeah.
So we've had a couple friends that have showed up the ranch, and they're just like, let the genie out of the bottle, because they're like, oh my God, girls do this here? And we're like, yeah.
Did they know about it beforehand?
They heard
They
about it, but
heard
they never
about it.
really experienced it. We've
But
got,
they only heard negative about it
Well, of course.
because of the stigma of the lifestyle.
Of course.
Well,
We
and
have-
it's very cliquish on
Yeah.
some, like,
on
It
some
can
level.
be.
like lesbians
Yes.
like to have their lesbian club, and then there's the gay club, and then
Right.
there's the lifestyle club, but there's almost your new school swingers, and then your old school swingers that do it certain ways, and it's very cliquish to some degree.
It is.
but it's also very inclusive as a
Right.
whole.
Yes.
But we like seeing some of the newer. There's been a couple lesbian couples that have showed up at the ranch, and we're just like, I'm like, oh my God, that's so great that they've come to experience it for themselves, to see what it's about.
Yes.
To check it out.
I love
Yeah.
it. The
Yeah.
diversity.
Yes.
And there's even more diversity now coming in,
It is. It's
because
interesting.
it should be,
So-
it's all inclusive.
Yeah.
Do you guys find that, and I'll ask this, to both of you, but you can take each your own turn to answer. Do you guys find that being together in the lifestyle as lesbians is easier to navigate versus being single as lesbians in the lifestyle?
I don't know, because as a single woman, my interaction with other women at the ranch hasn't been any different than when I've been with Amber. So how my interactions with other women are, with or without Amber there, hasn't changed. So I really, that's a really good question.
Personally, I think it's better.
Yeah.
You always have that person, that's someone that you care about and someone that you love there. Whether or not they're
strength,
right
your rock.
beside your arm,
Right.
or they could be, downstairs playing.
Right.
They're still there. You're not there by yourself. You're not wandering around looking like a lost puppy dog because you don't know what's going on. So when you're with someone as someone that you care about, you're more comfortable. You're more at ease.
I'm a social butterfly
know?
by nature.
Oh yeah.
So, for me to strike up conversation with most people, I'm right there.
Right.
I can have a conversation with anybody. So
I know. I see you fluttering around the club.
so I've never felt isolated or on an island where I couldn't, feel comfortable, sitting at the bar or going and talking with people or meeting somebody and saying, and just having a conversation. That's how it started. I've met everybody there. You just have to talk to people and make friends and see where it is, see where
Right.
Right.
Well, and the reason that I ask is because when we have guys on the show and when they talk about their single experiences, or even talking to people like Drew, who was, for a time in the lifestyle and single before he got married, it's a much harder game. I
Being
guess.
single.
Yes, a single man.
Yeah.
I think for
my
single
gosh.
women in general, whether you're straight, bi, and it sounds like lesbian, it's an easier process.
It is.
And that's
So easy.
but that makes sense because the lifestyle is ran by women.
Sure.
This
it
is a women's community. I mean, the clubs are controlled by women. Most of the couples that are going in there,
Absolutely.
like 90% of the time, if the woman says no, it's no.
Yeah.
Like there's, we're moving on. And so
Exactly.
it's one of those things that I think has been a struggle for a lot of the single men that we've had, whether they're bi or straight or hetero. And I'm always curious to hear, the other take
Yeah.
from it.
I can see where, it's a, societal because that's the way our society is structured.
Right.
Women can gather and congregate and they could go single and still, navigate because there are other women around. The social structure between men is different.
Way
Because
different.
unless you have your ride or die bro with you, it's hard to be a single man, going because then you're looked at as the creeper, the single
Right.
guy. There's a stigma attached
All
to
this-
that.
But you,
Right.
Yeah.
you really, really have to stand out.
Yes.
So it like
You have
has
to try
be.
harder.
It has to be
Your
this.
personality
you
has
know?
to
Yes.
be
It-
different.
It has to be this.
Yes.
Like you have to have like this crazy ass personality.
You have to be extra.
funny, and you have to dress nice, and you have to like. There's all these little things
Yeah.
like if you're gonna
And
do
you
that,
have to have balls.
And yeah,
As a
and
single guy,
confidence.
as a
Confidence.
single
It's the
guy, you
confidence.
have
Yeah.
to
It's the
stand up.
confidence.
You have to be at 10 times more than what anybody else is in the club.
Right.
As a female, no, we don't have to.
Right.
I mean, I've
So
heard all
in
the
that
stories of single
aspect-
females and what they go through in the dating scene. It's like this guy is this or this guy is not, and so the laundry list goes on. They're looking for that, that perfect puzzle piece as well. But the guys that are out there are not floating their boat because they're not meeting that criteria.
Yes.
And
Oh
they're,
yeah.
they're
I
not
know.
being extra in all those ways that float their boat.
Right.
So question, like when you guys go out, either one, and you go to like a lesbian club, when one of you steps away, is it like vultures, just like at
No.
a regular club, like boom,
No.
the other one?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
And no, for the most part, because the lesbian community, when you see other girls hanging out together, it's usually because one of them or both of them are they're in groups. They're
Right.
all dating. So it's not you don't see a lot of single lesbians being predatory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
I mean,
know.
don't get us wrong. They can
They
be.
can
be.
Yes.
There
Yes.
are some,
But
but they're
normally-
very few,
Yeah. See.
very far.
I ran into one in
between.
Vegas.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well, Vegas is a
Bigger
different
clubs.
story.
It's less
definitely-
Vegas.
Yeah, definitely bigger clubs, not in your, not Denver, Colorado, downtown lesbian part.
Right.
But, Vegas, probably, in California, New York, those kind of, bigger venues, girls are on the prowl.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So you guys met. Well, you had known each other in the past, but now you rekindle in the lifestyle. So when you knew each other in the past, did you both know that you were in the lifestyle then?
No.
Okay. So now you rekindle at this lifestyle club. Now, most people whose relationships we're talking about, they were married and they started off as monogamous a lot of the time
Yeah.
initially. Or if they met each other in the lifestyle, there was a period of time, in that new relationship energy where you guys were monogamous. You were learning about each other and determining if this was going to be a relationship or not,
Right,
or
sure.
friends with
Yeah.
benefits. So did you guys have that time period?
Not really, because, we tested the waters pretty much early on in our, as we started dating, within the first couple of months, we've had, experiences with other women at the ranch, together. So that was the test, and it's happened, several times,
Right.
One of our lesbian friends we brought back to our house that came to the ranch.
So when you guys met then, just like with any other relationship, you must have set some sort of rules, boundaries.
Our alone time is during the week.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it's not specifically Sunday through Monday or anything like that, but it's just when we're home, that's our time.
And it's us.
You know, and when we go out, it's because we're going out to have fun, so we're
And
open
whether
for
or not- yeah.
whatever happens.
Right.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it's
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
So do you? Oh, give me just a second. Do you guys play strictly together, or do you guys play separate?
Now, we could play separate depending on the situation, because with Amber being pansexual, if the right guy situation came around for her and she wanted to explore that, we've already had that talk. She can go ahead and do that if she feels safe and if she feels comfortable.
Oh, nice.
And so that's something that you're okay with, but wouldn't
Yes.
want to be a part of.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even as a voyeur.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
But I mean, no, we play together and we play separate. I mean, that's if we were at the club and someone come up, say, example, Justina, you come up, you two started hitting it off, and you guys wanted to go, but you just didn't feel that way with me. Go right ahead. You guys can go downstairs. The only thing that we ask is respect.
Right.
Absolutely.
That
Always.
Justina, you would come up, so you would come up to me and say, hey,
Right.
I'm really, I'm digging her,
Yeah.
and I want to take her downstairs. Hey, go for it.
We do find
But
that
you let
apprehension.
me know.
Right. You had the respect.
That's the
to-
respect.
Right.
To acknowledge that you existed and that you're in a relationship together.
And that's the growth cycle at the ranch too, is that, those people who have respect not only for your partner, but for themselves. And, it's like, go up and, if you have interest in somebody, talk to them, it's funny as Dan tells me all the time. It's, someone wants to come up and do something with April. It's like, you got to talk. You got to have a good communication.
Exactly.
Communicate, don't, if you have an intention, but you're too afraid to, well, then that's you.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to come to her and tell her about something that happened.
Right.
Right.
I want to come to her and tell her about what's going to happen.
To make
And
sure
then
that you guys are
also
on the
so
same
she
page.
can meet the other person.
Yeah. If you want to have a good time, go for it.
Not
meet 'em.
only, but it's also for a safety reason too.
Yeah.
Right.
So that way she knows, hey, me and Kenji are going downstairs. She knows it's Kenji. She knows what he
Right.
looks like. If I
Right.
don't reappear in an hour,
Right.
Probably
She
not
knows
so
what's
much
going on.
outside of the ranch, but
Yeah.
in safe settings like that where we're on the same premises.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you guys talked about being poly, or is this just strictly a physical sharing
We have
aspect?
not talked about poly.
Yeah,
She knows that I am poly.
Okay, so you do identify that way. Okay.
Yeah, I identify as poly, but I'm not against having a single monogamish relationship with one person.
Okay.
Okay.
Poly with me is not a has to happen. You know,
Right.
it's
End all,
not
be all.
exactly.
Okay.
I just
okay.
I'm not against the idea.
Have you
Makes sense?
Have you been in a situation in your life where you've had multiple partners at once?
I have not. No.
Okay.
yeah.
But you are. Yeah. Either one of you.
No.
No. But you are open to this
Yes.
situation. Okay.
Depending on the situation and depending on how
Oh yeah.
we feel together.
Right.
Absolutely.
No ifs, ands, or
It's
buts.
energy.
She's
Yes.
my primary.
Absolutely.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, I know, yeah.
anything else that would come up, that would be a time for us to sit down and go, hey, this is going on, you know, and I'm starting to get some pretty heavy feelings for Kenji. What do you think? You know, and that's when you sit down and you talk about it and you go from there.
Right.
Okay.
Because you can plan for every situation in the book, but until it comes up, you're not actually going to know what you're going to do.
Right.
How about you?
Yeah, I've never had a relationship with anybody but one person at a time. I never felt like having and at this stage, because Amber brings a lot to my table.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
She checks a lot of the
Well,
boxes.
she checks
Yes.
my boxes.
Yes.
Exactly. So, I'm not looking, to add to, it's like, what else is, I'm not being fulfilled on.
Right.
Right.
And sometimes, even in poly relationships, some person has something that this other person doesn't have, but your energies all work together. It's like, well, okay,
Exactly.
this is working for us.
Yes.
Kevin, Molly,
Yeah.
perfect
Yes.
example.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
And they're all energies work together, and that's great.
And that's
Right.
great for them.
You know, and
And
if
it
that
works.
situation ever came up with us, neither one of us are going to sit here and say, no, we wouldn't, or yes, we would. Once it happens, then it depends on who the
It would have
person
to-
is,
yeah.
how we feel. There's a lot of
Interesting.
openness.
They
in
would
that.
have to
Yeah,
have something
interesting.
that would enhance us
Oh yeah. Yeah.
as well as us
exactly.
enhancing
They
them.
needed to bring something to the table.
Yes.
That.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because it's not just, the act of having three people in one bed.
Yeah.
That's not it.
Yeah. Right. It's got to be deeper.
It's
Exactly.
more than that.
It's got to be deeper.
Much
I
more.
love it.
So how does it feel to have the option to get married?
It feels wonderful. Years and years ago, when you would see the news articles and see and hear the things of progress being made, and then gay marriage is the law of the land now. There's still prosecution under some of that from some people from out in different parts of the country that don't see that. You still hear it. It's never going to go away completely. You
Right.
read about it in just about every aspect of the news today. Whether it's one group this, one group that, it all boils down to these people are different than me. Their lifestyle is different than me. I don't like it.
Yeah,
and
let's
let's hate them.
Right.
My marriage to her doesn't affect anybody else but myself and her.
And why are you hating me for that?
And
Exactly.
Why are you hating me for that?
For
Because
love.
and if you think that I'm taking away from the gene pool for some reason, it's like, here's another thing. Okay.
I love it that we can actually be married now. That warms my heart, not only on the personal level and on a selfish level
Right.
for her and I. As far as everybody else, I will not believe it until the majority of society comes back and starts defending that.
Yeah.
Defending our right as human beings to be married.
It'll
That's
take
right.
a paradigm shift.
It's going to take a while for that. It will happen.
Just-
Agreed.
Yeah.
I
Paradigm shift.
I
Yeah.
don't think I'll be alive when it happens.
Let's hope
I
you will
think
be.
it's this
But
generation.
it-
I think it's
I think it's definitely our kids'
our kids'
generation.
generation. Yeah.
They are so much more like understanding and knowledgeable of like everything that's going on right now, and just like
and
accept-
open,
Yeah.
accepting.
open and accepting
Yeah.
of it, and they're just like, oh, that's you guys.
Accepting
That's-
generations is the
that's
only way
amazing.
that things will change and
Yeah.
as time goes
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
It's gotten better in our generation. The generations, behind us, it's much easier for them to navigate than it was for me 10 years ago or 15 years ago.
Right. And it's accepting, but it's also not accepting.
Right.
In other words, calling out the people that have an issue with it. Letting somebody know you're wrong. You're wrong for thinking that way. And you might just not be educated on this.
Right.
But you need to understand that why would you ever stand on the way of just happiness?
Yeah.
Right.
That on a whole is so better for society.
I am not I am not desecrating marriage by anybody's standard. And it's like the only reason it's affecting you is because it's bothering you personally.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And it shouldn't.
For somebody else's marriage to bother you personally,
Right.
like, you got some fucking problems.
But see, and then once the majority of society is the same way, you know, it doesn't. Once that happens and it doesn't bother them, then that's when I can step back and it's like, okay, now we're free.
You can take a
Right.
fucking big
Now
breath.
we're
We
free.
come down to things like entitlement to,
Yeah.
you know, not only in, you know, the monogamous world, in the straight world, you know, entitlement, thinking marriage, they have the monopoly on it. And they don't.
Right.
And they shouldn't.
Mm-mm.
There's
Never
no reason-
have.
Yeah.
Marriage is a
never
human
have.
right,
It's a human right.
not
Right.
a straight right, not a lesbian
not
or
a
gay
vow.
right
It's
or
not a,
anything.
You know, an edict, you know, it's a, you know, marriage between two people because of love.
And
Exactly.
everybody deserves happiness and love.
Right.
Yes.
Everyone. Everyone.
So when is the marriage?
Spring of,
We're talking next spring. We
so
haven't
you haven't
set a
picked a date yet?
No.
we haven't picked a date yet.
Yeah, and like I told her, she said yes. So for me, it's a done deal.
Right.
In my mind, we're already married. Everything else is just formal,
Right.
bureaucratic BS paperwork.
Right.
So, you know, for me, it's already there.
Yeah.
Everything else is just an extra from it.
So are you your hopes to wait post COVID?
Yeah, partially, you know, we've had, you know, she's been trying to get out of some financial stuff and just get back and reset, you know, after COVID, you know, be able to make some better plans. People will be able to come and do things, you know, when they feel
Celebrate
comfortable,
you.
when they've had, you know, vaccinations and
Yeah, they can, and
You know,
they can relax.
they can
Exactly.
relax. So
And you want
yeah,
that. You
we
want that
wanted
at your,
to.
at
We
your
wanted
wedding.
we wanted to be
Yeah.
able to celebrate with everybody that we wanted to be able to, and be able to do, you know, something special for us, and be able to enjoy it, you know, without the restrictions that, you know, some places might place on it. It's like you can't do this or you can't do that, you know.
No dancing. Can
Yeah,
you fucking
exactly.
have that?
No.
Can you imagine that?
No.
No dancing at
No.
your reception.
No,
Right.
25% capacity.
no.
You can have
So-
5 people. You have to take the stripper pole down.
Right? Right?
So we promised when we
Or disinfect between every dance?
Yes.
So the whole thing is we pick a date, you know, we would probably have a small wedding, but have big receptions with everybody.
Oh, okay.
Have a reception out at
Yeah.
the ranch
Yes.
for
Yes.
all
Like
of our
all your-
friends.
oh gosh, and then
and
like
then have
if you're,
one
like,
for
at
our
the lesbian
the
community.
lesbian
Yes.
community.
And then, oh god,
Yeah.
that
we
is
just
so
have multiple
cool.
parties and, you know, and be able to share the love with everybody,
Yeah.
because we don't want to omit anyone, group people from our lives, because we so much enjoy, you know, everyone's company.
Right.
Yeah.
I love how you guys float too.
Yeah.
You're just like us. You
Yeah.
know, like it's like you said earlier, you know, you float over here and you know, you do your thing and float over here to this group and hey, what's going
Yeah.
on, you know, and just like check in and
Social interactions for us
That's-
are very important, because, you know, we need our friends wherever they are, you know, and we enjoy being asked to go out with them. So, because we don't like to be intrusive, so, you know, we like our friends, you know, if you want us to come over to your house and for a barbecue, we're up for that. Cool. You want us to come out for dinner? Sure, we're cool
just
for that
invite
too.
us, huh?
Just invite
Exactly.
Because we're
us.
not going to
Yeah.
invite ourselves.
We're not going to invite
Exactly.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and that's, I mean, you guys know I'm an introvert.
I know.
Right.
I
You know, I'm
She's more
blind
introvert.
and oblivious to everything that's going on around me.
Mhm.
So, no, I don't usually make the first step to meet new people. You know,
Gotcha.
it's they usually come up to me, but as soon as the introductions are made, the conversation usually happens fairly quickly, and then
I
yeah,
know. I was going to say, because, you know, you're an introvert, but shit, me and you have always talked.
exactly. Yeah. That's why I love it, because she's the social. She's the one that goes out and, you know, talks to everybody and gets everybody all wild up
Uh-huh.
Then I come in on the background and kind of sneak my way in there. And, next thing you know, it's, oh, who's this short little girl?
Right.
You're not that short.
I know. One circle we haven't talked about is your family circle. So are you close with your families?
I'm close with my mom and my sisters and my sister and my nieces. So it's just, and really my mom and my dad's side of the family, because most of my dad's side of the family lives in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And so I don't get to see them that often, but, they're cool with me. Same with my mom's side of the family, my cousins and everyone's cool with me. I've never had one single family member not be.
That's amazing.
So do you feel like it was harder to come out as trans or lesbian or equal or?
Well, it was funny is because, once I told my mom was like, do you mind if I tell the rest of the family? I'm like, sure, Mom, go for it.
Oh, she just took the reins.
Mom
and
took
was
it.
like,
So she really
don't tell her secrets.
She took she took the burden off of me to a certain extent.
Okay.
By me having that conversation with family before I ever got a chance to.
Okay. So it just made
the
it
icebreaker.
easier.
She was the icebreaker in that. I'm fortunate, knock on wood. Not everybody is. Unfortunately, Amber's family is not. She has contact with some people, but mostly not.
One. Really?
And was that from the beginning?
There's a lot more family dynamic issues going on than just the trans or lesbian issue. There's a lot more that's way, way, way back. So it's I never had any contact with my parents when I came out actually anyway.
Oh, okay.
Man.
So I hadn't talked to my parents in over 5 years when I came out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man.
So, I mean, they know now because I made the attempt to talk to them about it. Notice I said made the attempt.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how that went.
But that's,
I'm sorry to hear that.
it is what it is.
Sometimes people, no matter if you share blood or not, are just better not in your life.
And this is
is,
definitely one of those situations.
And it sucks that it's your parents. See, I lost my parents at a really young age, and so when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, ugh, how could they not accept their fucking kid, no matter what?
The nice thing is my sister, my nieces, and my mother love Amber.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is
cool.
that is
it's
very
like a
good.
second family.
It is.
And it's so fucking accepting, and so it just makes you. It warms
They
your heart.
genuinely like her. They.
I don't know why.
Shut up.
And that's part of it. I mean, I never had to worry about. I mean, they fell in love with her. I didn't have to say anything.
Yeah, 'cause she's an awesome person.
Yeah,
Well,
so.
you can't deny seeing you guys how happy you make each other.
She does generally make me happy every single day.
We know. We see
So,
it.
We see it.
Yeah.
Love
Happy is not the word for it, but that's the best way to describe it. It really is.
It's God. Yeah.
I mean,
So-
there's so much built into that happy and that love. That there's not anything you can put in words because it's a whole string of words that's a mile long.
Right.
So,
All right. So you guys have always been very open,
yes.
very honest about your transitions, and you came out on our on your first time that you were on our show.
Right.
So how has that process been post surgery?
It's been a rough road. Going from there's no guarantees in anything. So, you get the disclaimer up front. You sign. It's like you should, be able to perform afterwards. And just in my case, that wasn't always. It took longer to heal. Post-operatively than I wanted it to. I had scar tissue. It just, a lot of it took a lot of time. Then a lot of time trying to relearn, what it was to have intimacy in my life post, that I was comfortable actually having, interaction.
Another person,
Right.
and that's
Absolutely.
gotta feel
It's,
like
it's yeah, it's a
it's like
complete
real
new.
scary.
Right.
It's
So
a complete new
Especially
feeling
for
you
the
have.
first girl that went down on me, I was like, oh God. It's like, okay, I'm just hoping my pussy looks good enough. So, that is probably every woman's thing. It's like, is it look good enough? There's mental gymnastics and all of that.
Yeah, she taught me that with
So,
women.
Yeah.
Guys,
But can
so
I
it took
tell
a
you-
long road.
Does it look good enough is such a weird thing because have you ever seen one vagina that looks anything like another vagina?
No.
Everybody's is different.
and they all look
Everybody's
good.
vagina.
They all look
I don't know
They
whether I
do.
mentioned
Yes.
this before. And just as a side note, there was a British artist who did the vagina wall. It's 10,000 vaginas that were plaster mold cast, and they're in 10 different panels, all on display in the museum. And out of those 1,000, there are 100 trans women in there.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you would not be able to find
I was gonna say,
You wouldn't-
you couldn't pick it out.
not one.
You could not fucking pick
No.
it out. Get out of
No.
here.
No.
Well, it's amazing what they can do.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's not foolproof.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not always perfect,
Right.
and that's okay, And for 90% of 90, it's exactly where everything should be and functions the way everything should function.
But you were the exception to the rule.
Yeah, just a little bit, without bad talking my surgeon,
Right.
because I could go on all day. It just healing took longer than it should have. The scar tissue shouldn't have happened the way it should have. Couple woulda, shouldas. But you deal with it. That's the risk, and that's the It's like I knew what it was going into it. It wasn't like I just want to do this just because it'll look good in a dress.
Right?
Right.
Why would I spend 20
Yeah.
plus thousand cash, to do that to myself for cosmetic reasons?
Yeah.
Right.
You really have to want to.
Yeah, there's so much that we have to go through in order to prove to the powers that be that we know what we are and
you're
what we're
doing,
doing.
yes.
fine, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
to
Oh
my
You're not
gosh.
going to change
You-
your mind.
Really?
The main, you have to have a year of living as the gender that you say you are. So say if you were a man and you're in the wrong gender, you're going to go female, you have to be a year
Living as that gender, you're
that
living in
gender.
society as that,
How do
100% full time.
How do they determine that you've lived for a year like this?
That's just because it's
Your
two.
word?
Yeah,
It's
your
one
word
psychotherapist and one psychiatrist. You have to have two letters.
doctors.
You have to have two
separate
separate letters
therapists.
sign off that you are not crazy and that you can perform the surgery.
What the
So
fuck?
this is like a 2-year-long process if everything goes 100% correct the way you need it to.
And that's just to have the surgery.
That's just to have.
That's just to
surgery.
be prepared for the surgery.
Yeah.
And now you're how many years post surgery?
Let's see. 2012 was when I had mine, so it's 9
9
years.
years.
Yeah,
And it took you 4 years
up front
to heal.
to
to
he-
heal,
to
really to fully heal. From just the scar tissue that I had to deal with. There are some people that have, they're up and walking, 2 days, 3 days later, and and they've had no complications.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
As
was
my
you.
partner,
That was me.
my partner
Wow.
can.
Really?
I was on narcotic pain medication for 3 days after my surgery.
That's it.
That's it. I was off all except for Tylenol.
Holy shit.
and everything was functioning. You had an orgasm.
Oh yeah,
It
she's-
took, my first orgasm was 8 months after surgery.
Okay, so it still took a
It's
while.
like, yeah, you still have to heal. You're not going to have it immediately, no matter who you are.
How long was your healing process?
8 months,
8 months.
Okay.
Okay.
basically, yeah.
Okay.
much.
Alright.
I mean, and
Well,
there's
yeah.
still
Yeah.
there's still things that are happening. There's still
Absolutely.
nerves that are reattaching.
Oh yeah.
Not everything is finished, but for the most part, yeah, everything. I'm fully feeling
So-
orgasmic. I mean,
Now this
hers is very
Yeah.
well. I shouldn't say hers is easy for me to bring up, but I'm a very experienced woman, so I know what I'm doing.
You just read their body.
she's very easy.
You
Yeah,
read their body.
Yeah.
That,
So
Mhm.
I got a question. is a male orgasm and a female orgasm
Totally different.
Totally different.
Night and day.
Night
Really?
and
Night
day.
and day.
Because how often do you get to fill both? Like,
I know.
this is the same person.
Yeah.
gets
It's
to fill
it's a
both.
night and day
Totally
difference.
different.
Yes.
Really?
It's because where everything has been reattached, relocated, you know, after about the first 6 months, you know, the brain, like she said, you know, everything is starting to reattach, and you know, those nerve endings between here and there are starting to reform. So it's like this feels like that, you know. It doesn't feel like anything like it ever used to
Okay.
at all.
Well, and at the same point, you know, at estrogen, you know, our brains were already female anyway.
Yeah.
Estrogen enhances that just like in a biological female.
Mhm.
Right.
So that helps it too. So now what used to turn someone on with the other gender most times doesn't
Right.
Yeah.
after.
It's
Yes.
it's a whole.
It's a whole you
new
have to
learning
relearn
process.
everything.
And it's a
It's
slot
like learning to walk.
And it's
It
a slot
is.
machine for everyone
It
because everybody is different as far as you know, their sexual interest.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Which
I've had girlfriends of mine who transitioned who like guys, some like girls. It depends. I know girls who are trans men. Some of them like guys, and some of them like girls.
Wow.
Have any of them changed what they liked post surgery?
there are some out there.
Some
that
do, some don't. It just depends.
Mine.
It's a
I-
slot machine. You never know exactly what that is going to look like.
When the hormones
Afterwards.
hit you and
Yeah.
Really?
I
Yeah.
never had a relationship with a man until after my surgery.
wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, that's really interesting.
I
That
just
is
it
Yeah.
not anything. It never happened. I just never was attracted or anything that way
right.
to somebody. It just never happened. And then after my surgery,
Is it more like the
That's-
connection?
Yeah, it's always
yes,
been about
it's
the
connection. Yeah,
Right.
So yeah, that's why
Well,
it's
and
pan. And that's
orgasms
why
are-
it doesn't even matter.
Exactly.
Yep.
On
Yep.
a whole, orgasms are like
Mhm.
80% mental to
They
begin
Oh
with.
yes.
They
You
are.
know, your head has to be in it. You have to be in the right mind space.
And
I mean, you
that's
can sit there be rubbing my clit all the time, but if I'm thinking about what I'm making
Exactly.
for dinner,
You know.
and
like
that's
I'm not
see-
going to have an orgasm.
It's not gonna happen.
it's
yeah.
part of the
Right.
part of the issue going from male to female because the male is so much more visual, and where it comes from.
Mhm.
Okay.
So it's not so much more mental.
Yeah.
know?
You know,
Okay.
that's why they're
Yeah.
fucking addicted to porn and shit.
Right.
That's why there is porn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whereas women, it's that connection with your partner and the the mental aspect of it because, I mean, not everybody can find it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
So let
Exactly.
me ask you
God
this.
damn it.
So let's say, now we're 8 years post surgery and you still hadn't had an orgasm. Would you still have had the surgery?
Absolutely.
No ifs, ands,
Ands or
buts,
Yeah.
questions.
Not
This
even
is who
hesitate.
you are.
Yeah.
As soon as, and that's, I had many people the first 6 months after my surgery, that when they come up and they talk to me, they literally said I was glowing.
Yeah. I mean, I
Nonstop.
never had an ounce of
Nonstop,
regret
just
about it, given the shortcomings that I've had, it's okay.
Mhm.
I'm okay with that. What brings me joy is being with my partner and the one who, accepts me for me and, no matter what, it's not, she doesn't feel pressured to try to make me have an orgasm every single night. It's the act.
obviously I try,
Right.
Right.
I know.
and I'm going to give it my all,
She
Okay.
does.
but
Huh.
I realize, it's not going to happen. It's not
But
going
I
to
still
happen.
enjoy it.
And then
Right.
that's when you get into the sensual sex.
It's
That's
not
right.
all
And
about
the sensual
O
sex
in my
is,
case.
it takes you
Got
to a
it.
different level.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The touching.
The
Like
touching,
the cuddling.
the
you
the
know,
energy
kissing.
exchange
Yes.
between my partner.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. All the the little shit. You
You
know,
know.
the build up. Everything. The tear down. All
Icing's
of it.
great,
I love
but,
it. I love
know,
it.
I still want the whole biscuit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, again, we thank you guys so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on
thanks for
you.
having us.
And-
Yes.
and sharing everything with us because it's, You know, it's interesting
It's not
questions.
every day.
Yeah.
I know.
Right.
I know. We appreciate it.
And
Yeah,
especially in our
just share.
community, that there's, and as I said on the last show, it's like not everybody knows, the great, varying degree of our lives.
Yeah.
They may see us out, do they know everything?
Right.
Not that we share everything, but this is our lives 24/7.
Exactly.
Right?
So
Yeah. And they're yours.
yeah.
And you own them.
And we're happy.
Yeah.
And we're happy sharing our lives with our friends and
No
Fuck, yeah.
apologies,
so
no fucks
apologies
given.
and zero
Yeah.
fucks given.
As
love
there
it.
should be.
Yep.
My people.
I love her. I love my friends that we have. You guys, people we have at the ranch.
Oh, yeah.
Our, the lesbian community, the gay community. We have our friends,
That's amazing.
but
I love
this
it.
is
Love.
Yep.
Love is
We
love.
love.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Come back again.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Ishes, for tuning in to another wonderful episode of Monogam-ish. And this is so great to catch up with, old friends and hear how things change and how lives evolve in the lifestyle. So once again, thank you guys for sharing everything with
You're
us.
welcome. Thank you
yes,
for having
thank you
us.
for having us.
And then to all of our Ishes out there, please make sure you catch us on YouTube and like and subscribe, and go to your favorite podcast app, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify. You can find us everywhere. And make sure you subscribe on all of them for us. We're really trying to, get the word out there that this type lifestyle shouldn't be something that's looked upon as a bad thing. Honestly, this lifestyle is happening everywhere. It's just whether you're doing it ethically or not.
Yes.
And we want to share that and share the love. And so we really thank you for all of your support.
Mm-hmm.